We good? We good, Seth?
Good to go.
All right. Welcome to the Police and Public Safety Committee meeting for June 1st, 2021. I'll start with attendance. I see Councilman McPartlin. I do not see the supervisor as of yet.
Chief,
oh, I'm sorry. There you are. I got you. Chief Wall is absent. Deputy Chief Stevens, I'm here. Deputy Supervisor Forminski. Michelle Martinelli, I think I saw. She no longer here?
she's here.
She is, okay. Town Attorney Briggs.
I'm here.
Morning, Paul. I saw both judges. Brian Backus said he's going to be a couple minutes late. He texted me. Deputy Town Attorney Finnan. Nope. Chief Lingenfelter.
I'm here.
Morning, Dale. And
Good morning.
Controller Alam.
Good morning.
Will Janet be attending or no?
No. I attend these meetings now.
Very good. All right. And I think I also saw Councilwoman McGraw.
Good morning.
Morning. All right, we'll start off with a motion to accept the minutes from the May meeting. Chief Wall sent those out last night. I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to see them.
Motion to accept the minutes.
I will second.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, operations.
Can you forward those over to me so I can get them on the website?
The minutes from last month?
Yes.
Yep. Let's see. Operations. As for COVID-19, we have no known cases in the PD at this time. It's all good news. We have accepted and started following the CDC and the town guidelines with regards to vaccinated officers and mask wearing. We are continuing the health screening every day, the temperature and such. We're continuing work on the Lexapol policies. It has slowed down a little bit due to the fact that we've been doing a lot of in-service training the last few months. So we haven't had a lot of time to devote to that in the actual crafting of the policies and the editing of them. However, the admin approval of them has continued. So that's good. Body cams. We finished testing our second round of body cams. This was a company called Wolfcom out of California. They were slightly disappointing compared to what we were hoping we were going to get with them. I know Detective Kafaga was excited about these in speaking with the company. And then once we actually got them and we were able to test them a little bit, we ran into a couple problems with them. So those have since gone back. And we're waiting on our third set of cameras to show up here, which should be this week or next. And then we'll continue to test those. I do have to add one thing to operations that is still occurring today. At the end of last week, we were having an issue with our discovery clerks where they were unable to, the way the process works is they request, when we get a case, they request a link from the clerk at the DA's office. The DA's office then sends them back a link, and that link is where they dump the files to. So the DA's office has everything for discovery for the statutory requirements. For some reason, we can't receive the emails with the links. We've sent emails to them. They see our email, it's working, but the link coming back is not. So therefore, we have not a ton. I want to say maybe 5 or 6 cases that are sitting waiting to be sent remotely. We have to kind of figure out a plan. If we can't get this up and running, we're probably going to have to actually physically bring the cases down to them, which is going to create a lot of problems. This has worked well for the last 15 months. I'm not sure what's going on this end. We spoke to Seth about it a little bit. Seth, I don't know if you have any extra ideas you thought of over the weekend or anything, but I just spoke with Jimmy Walsh. He says it's still continuing now. So I don't know if you got anything for
Okay,
us.
well, if Jimmy can give me the contact information, maybe we can figure out another way for them to send the links, because mail is flowing in and out. So I'm not entirely sure why their mail is the only thing that's not coming through. So
It actually seems a little more specific than that. It seems like the only, because I believe her name is Amy, is the clerk they deal with. She has sent test emails and it's working. It's the actual link.
oh, maybe it comes through a third party system that's automatically blocked. Like,
That's why I figured I'd let you know that, because it seems to just be the link. Because test emails are coming from the county, all right. It's the link itself is not coming through.
Okay, so why don't we do this? I'm currently at home because of having to run this meeting, but I will be in the office, a half hour after we're done with the meeting. Have Jimmy contact me and get me the contact information for this lady. So maybe I can find out, I can probably whitelist whatever the email address is that it's coming from, but there's got to be an issue on their end.
Okay. Yeah, we'll hook up later today, then we'll try to get that squared away. Thanks, Seth. Fleet and equipment. As Chief Wall reported last month, the 2021 patrol vehicles have a build date of the week of July 2nd. That to me translates, from doing this for a while, that we won't see those cars before August, before they're actually here at the station, probably mid-August. I am still working on securing 3 quotes for the upfitting. That process is going a little slower than I'd like it to, but we're getting there. So 2 old patrol cars, the old 606 and the old 603, went on the live auction on the 28th. We also have an old Tahoe that's going to go up. That should go up any day now. And we've made the decision to sell the Grand Marquis, Chief Lingenfelter, sorry. We just don't have the personnel right now. It's been sitting. So we figure it's better to try to get the money out and work towards the 4% challenge if we can, and getting that car out of here. So it's actually down being decommissioned currently. And we were able to, the board voted last month on a resolution to surplus it. So as soon as we get it stripped out, we can put it right on the auction. So that should be quick. The other thing I have on here is the uniform change. So with Chief Wall's approval, I started working on a uniform solution a couple months back. I was invited to a new vendor, Wicked Smart Apparel. They're out of Waterville. They've been around for many years. I believe it's 15, 20 years the company's been around, but they did mainly athletic apparel. They're now getting into uniform sales, specifically law enforcement and fire department uniforms. He's not the owner. He's the brother that's running the uniform apparel. I'm sorry, that's running the uniform sales, lives in town. So he has struck up friendship with a couple of the other officers and sent me an invite to a uniform expo that I attended back in, I believe, March. It was interesting. First Tactical is we currently wear Blower uniforms. And what I've realized as I started doing a lot of research on this stuff is Blower uniforms are very expensive. So we looked at the First Tactical. To every agency that came to the expo, they actually gave wear tests, they're called, where they gave us full uniforms, but they said it has to be a male and a female officer. We need both because they have female sizes. So we sent Sergeant Party and Officer Mara Walter down, and they've been wearing the uniforms for just over a month now. And I've got nothing but positive feedback from them. The other officers actually just like the way they look. They look they're a slightly different appearance. You really can't notice if you're standing side by side with each other. But when they wear them every day, they're supposed to be more comfortable. The good news is part of this process is going to be actually trying to get us onto more of a scheduled replacement of uniforms. The whole time I've been up here, we've pretty much just, when guys need uniforms, they put in for uniforms. We don't really have any sort of schedule for replacing the uniforms. And what happens is it becomes a little more difficult to budget for, in my opinion. So again, I went to this, got pricing, and spoke with Chief Wall, and she gave me the okay to, we're going to start ordering every officer a pair of pants, short sleeve shirt, and a new style polo shirt, it's called, that will be worn underneath the vest. It looks like a regular uniform shirt, but it's designed to be worn under vests. They don't wear out in certain places. They're a little cooler. The good news is getting 2 shirts and a pair of pants is still cheaper than what we currently pay for a short sleeve shirt and a pair of pants with blower. And Comptroller Alam helped me with the numbers. And it looks like in 2021, even moving towards this replacement theory that we're going to go to, we're looking to save about $3,000 this year on uniforms. So again, one more chip towards that 4%. We're getting there slowly but surely. We're trying. So we will need that. I'm sorry, to go to the finance committee, because the first purchase is upwards of $5,000, high fours. So we can just put that on for the finance committee. That'd be great. On the building, the town hall lock system has been fully installed. Charlie made me aware last week that he actually has the software on his computer, and he'll be looking to put it on the chief's computer when she returns from vacation. On to training. Firearms, we were able to get completed as best we possibly could on the 28th. I say as best we could because we still have a couple officers that are on sick leave and such. So those officers will shoot immediately upon returning. When their return will be, I'm not quite sure. So we've got done. Everybody that's been at work is now complete. We also were able to finish along those same lines all of our CPR training for the year and the AED. Again, we still have a couple of stragglers just based on people being out, but we'll get those done when they get back. The firearms crew did a good job this go around, where they were able to start to work a little towards our goal of reality-based training. We were able to do a course. I'm not going to lie, got the heart rate up pretty good, and I'm a little overweight, so it wasn't great having the heart rate up that good, but it was a very good course that it put the officers to a little bit of stress, got their heart rate over, which is what reality-based training is all about. And Sergeant Frenier and Sergeant Cochin did a very good job in this course. It was definitely a memorable one, and that went well. So we're moving towards that reality-based. We got to walk before we can run, so we're getting there. But other training, Officers Relation in Wyman will be attending bike school for bike patrol. Schenectady PD is going to be putting a school on. They put one on usually once a year, and they invited us if we wanted to send anybody, so we're going to send those 2 officers. That'll be the week of the 7th. The countywide active shooter training we've been talking about, we've set the dates up for October 16th and 17th. Dr. Tangor was able to confirm that those dates will work for the school district. At this point, I believe we're going to be doing it at the high school, but he said whatever building we need, he'll make available. Similar to last year, we'll send 4 instructors, and then we'll take a poll to see who's available to go officer-wise. The goal with this training is to send different officers from last year so that we can kind of get everybody on the same page of how we're going to respond to an active shooter. So we'll look to send a different group of officers this time, and then that'll just work out on availability, willingness to go, so on and so forth. Police 1 trainings are continuing every month. We've been sending those out, and the officers have been getting those done. On to citizen complaints. Supervisor Syed had sent over, she had sent over an email regarding complaints, speeding complaints on Central towards Jewett. We sent an email out to the patrol division to have them try to send officers over there. This is one of the, not having the TEU anymore, the traffic enforcement unit. This is one of those things where we'd be able to use them and actually assign them to that area. But staffing levels are not allowing that. So we sent it to patrol. We can do a traffic study over there. I can probably get that out maybe this week, see if we can get that done. We also got an email. Let me see if I can just call this up quick here. We received an email from a Christian and Jane Borger with regards to the volleyball being played at Baker Woods. I know we've had this an ongoing thing where Mr. Mastriani has complained about the volleyball players at the park. We had come up with a plan to where we would identify people to see if anybody lived in the park district. We would then email Paul Briggs, and he would get back to us confirming if people were actually in the park district or not. If they're in the park district, our understanding is they can invite people into the park. That's okay. It was interesting. The one time we've been called there, the officers approached me and were concerned because they took a lot of grief from other neighbors in the immediate area that were concerned of the fact that the officers were, quote, harassing the volleyball players. And this email, I believe, was sparked out of that. Let me see if I can call it up here. Hang on one second for me. Yeah, it's a quick email. I'll just read it. My wife and I are writing in support of the residents and their friends who play volleyball at Baker Field. This is nearly unanimous support amongst our neighbors, including the 4 park-facing residents on Baker Ave, for this wholesome community gathering. The dissenters are very few and should not be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. I'm sure that the police have much higher priorities and should not be persisted to respond. Again, I reached out to them and invited them to come to this meeting if they wanted to. I didn't hear back, but I figured we'd read that into the record. So we'll continue to respond as we have to for calls. At the last town board meeting on the 25th, Leslie Gold was requesting data, crash data from the circle at Balltown and Aqueduct. If the first thing I was trying to figure out is when the actual circle went in. I think we can see it per the data here. In 2016, we had 6 accident reports completed at Balltown and Aqueduct. In 2017, we had 23. 18, we had 35. 19, we had 39. In 2020, we had 21. And to date, on the 28th, we had 17 so far this year. So there's an increase in accidents down there for sure. We all knew that. We already discussed that prior in this meeting. But I'm not sure, Bill, if you want to report that to Leslie. I can get you the actual printouts from the track system if you want of what I ran.
Yeah, I'll report that to her. Yeah, it's people that don't know, are getting used to traffic circles, and there's a lot of volume down there.
There's a lot of volume, and it seems like the 2-lane traffic circles tend to be more of a problem. Because I didn't run it, but Rosendale and River, I don't hear us going there ever. And it's a 1-lane traffic circle that seems to work very well. So I think the problem is a 2-lane, but that's my opinion. I don't know. I have no factual base behind that other than these numbers. So community events. There was one community event that I think we kind of need to discuss a little bit, and that is I'm not sure if they're calling it Niska Day or Niska Day Reimagined, whatever they're calling it. But Sergeant Twitty, who's been our liaison for years now with the Niska Day crew and NCAP, is reporting that they want to do 3 simultaneous parades this year at smaller scale parades. Let me be blunt. I don't know how we could possibly cover that at this point. The officers are working so much overtime. We know from negotiations and things that brought up in this committee in the past, we've got a lot of mandates, a lot of overtime. I'm not confident we're going to get a lot of people signing up to work Niska Day this year. And due to prior grievances and such years back, pretty sure, Stan, maybe you could help me out on this, but I'm pretty sure there were prior grievances and decisions that we can't mandate people to work Niska Day. And the plan that I saw so far calls for 3 parades, and there's 30 intersections that I counted on this day, all going off simultaneously. I just don't know how we're going to do it. And so I think we're going to have concerns for, obviously, traffic safety, pedestrian safety in these 3 different parades if we can't have people present there. So I don't know.
Just a thought. Could you call Ray Furstein over at the Schenectady County Sheriff Auxiliary to do the traffic?
Oh no, he'll be there, but even then, I don't know if we're gonna have enough. I mean, 30s. I gotta go back and look at how many we actually are on the current route, how many intersections there are, because it's probably close to that reality-wise. But my concern is people aren't taking overtime. And I don't know if anyone's going to actually take the overtime on this day. And if they don't, we're going to have to look out to mutual aid from other agencies and get agreements for that and how that's going to work out, people getting paid. I just think this needs to be looked at a little bit of how we're going to actually accomplish this, because our goal needs to be safety for anybody that's participating in the parade or spectating the parade.
So,
So-
Chief, the NCAP folks are usually pretty good about communicating. Did they communicate this with you or with the supervisor's office before they announced the 3 different parades?
Me personally, no. I don't know if they spoke with Chief Wall. I got this information from Joe Twitty, who goes to the meetings. But I do know that I think it was a day after he told me about it, there was an article in the paper and a mailing that was sent out. I don't know how widespread the mailing was. I mean, I got it here.
Yeah, I got it too. Yeah.
Mentioning that this was the plan. And I have concerns. All I'm just basically trying to say is that I don't know how we're going to do this.
You know, Joe expressed these concerns about the staffing for these when he was at the meeting.
I don't know. I believe he did. I don't know to what extent. I wasn't there. So
I was on a couple of the meetings, and I actually expressed my concern with it because I knew it was not going to be an easy lift for the PD. They've got a couple new people that are kind of heading up the committee there, and they're all about all the activities and everything, but they don't have the experience and the knowledge base that the leaders did, and they just kind of seem to be going full steam ahead. And I had suggested to them a couple times they reach out to you guys, and I don't know that they did. I eventually called Chief Wall and gave her a heads up on it just in case she hadn't heard, but she may have already. I don't know.
Chief, that is excellent information. Thank you very much, Dale. Supervisor, do we want to have a conversation with Jean Sasnow immediately?
Yeah, that's a great question. And way back, and I'm talking months ago, when I had a meeting with Dr. Tangora, a few other people, and Michael Corcoran, who's taken over the planning for Niska Day. Same concerns were expressed that if they're going to have different parade routes, that means more intersections, which means more barricades, more people on the ground, that they might want to think about not doing that. And in that time, exactly what Mike described happened. Letters went out, announcements were made. So yes, I think a meeting between all parties immediately is something that I can set up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to come across as like the party pooper on this thing, but that's a lot of intersections to try to cover. And my concern is that we're seeing less voluntary overtime taken. And like I said, my recollection is from prior years and grievances filed by the union that we don't have the authority to mandate people to work this event. So,
Chief?
yeah.
Yeah, years ago, it was a mandatory OT thing. And you're correct. Based on grievances and decisions, it was ruled not a quote unquote police emergency, and therefore we could not mandate. So it became a voluntary thing. And over the course of years, fewer and fewer officers volunteered. One of my concerns, you were talking about the number of intersections that needed to be manned. In the normal pre-COVID Niska Day parades, we may have had the same number, maybe a few more, maybe a few less intersections to be manned. But as the parade went through, officers from the beginning of the parade would jump ahead to assist blocking intersections as the parade went forward. if you're running 3 different parades in 3 different neighborhoods, we don't have that ability. And you're right. In regards to the auxiliary, there's not enough auxiliary to help cover three separate parades. Again, going back to the whole officers jumping ahead to cover intersections as the parade progresses. You're right. You're gonna have tactical problems with trying to man all those positions.
But that's actually interesting what you said, because one of the solutions I was trying to run in my head was if we staggered them. If they want to have the 3 parades, can we stagger the 3 parades so that we can move people where they need to go? I mean, I don't know how long the parade routes aren't terribly long, and I don't even know if they're going to get enough interest for people to actually be in the parade to try to fill 3 parades.
Staggering the parades is a good idea. I think maybe even if they wanted to do a warm up to Niska, do one the evening before. Do one. I forget the times that they were talking about, but do one the evening before to fire people up. Do one in the morning and do one right prior to the festivities, and that way you have enough lead time to move cops and police officers around.
Yeah, because my understanding, again, I got this from Joe and Dale. You were at the meetings. Maybe you could kind of confirm. Was they want to do 10 o'clock, three parades at 10 o'clock, but the traditional stuff at the school from noon to 4 or 5 is not happening. Is that true, Dale?
Yeah, their plan was to do the 3 simultaneous parades, and I believe they had them kind of planned out in the 3 fire districts. So like our folks would only be in the one, and those were to fire off at 10, and then at 4:30 they were going to start more of the field day events, but it's scaled down. I think essentially just some music and food up until fireworks, so they won't have the business tent or any of that. So it'll be a downscaled field day at the school.
Okay, one quick suggestion. I mean, we can also think about charging the organizations the overtime expense. Like other cities, other places, they charge the average cost of a police officer, and they give them a menu. This is officer at step 5, at 4, 2, whatever it is, and they make an agreement where they're charging either full cost or part of the cost to so that way we can, that's one way of overcoming the cost of this parade to the town. Logistically, I don't know how to manage that, but I'm just talking about financially, and remember we talked about it during our budget session with you and friend Mike. That could be part of, overcoming your 4%.
I got bad news. I got bad news for you, Matt. My understanding, and I don't know if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, but I think the town absorbs the cost of the officers on Niska for all these years. I don't believe we can charge NCAP, so.
Okay, I did not know the history, but you are full of good news today. Thanks.
I was just thinking the exact same thing. I'm just all sorts of good news today. So,
okay, I did not know.
A meeting set up with them. Is that Yasmin? You're going to get the meeting set up?
Yep.
Great.
I will set that up.
Great. That's all I had. Town clerk issues? Michelle still on here?
No, I don't have anything today. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Court issues. We got both judges.
I'm sorry, Deputy Chief. We also have the senior parade for the high schoolers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I saw an email on that from you last night. The 26th.
Yep.
Is that the date, correct?
The 20. Yeah, that's
Okay.
Saturday. Yep.
And is it the same thing they're doing last year where they come up Mass
same-
Street East?
Yeah, exactly. The same exact thing.
Okay.
And I know you were very helpful in making sure that came together without a hitch last year. So if we need to follow up for any reason.
I actually have to admit that wasn't me, but
Okay. I'll take away your compliment. And
yeah, I think it was Chief McManus actually did all that.
he did. I talk to him regularly, but I thought you were there as well. Excuse me.
No worries. I mean, willing to help whatever I can do. So
okay. Thank you.
Okay. So that'll be June 26th. And then court issues. Judge Scagnelli, saw your hand up.
Yes, good morning, everybody. And this is a question of communication. Yesterday afternoon, I got a phone call, and I was asked if I were the judge on duty. The information was that I was the judge on duty, and would I do an arraignment? Now, first things first, I always, look, if you're, if the police department's jammed up for whatever reason, I'll do it. But we now have a centralized arraignment part, and I'm on call every 6 weeks, and I'm backup call probably every 6 weeks too. But I was told that the schedule they had that I was on this week. Now, I don't know if they're still working off the old schedule where Steve and I would be a week on, a week off. And if we were following that, yes, I would be on call. My call would end Wednesday when I take the bench. But I don't know if you folks have the centralized arraignment part schedule. And if you don't, I can get you one. And that's all. And here's a Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, no, we don't actually have that call list, but I have to assume if you're being called, the only times that we would call one of our judges is we've run into, I want to say a handful, maybe 5, where under COVID, if somebody fails the screen or refuses to take the screen, the sheriff's department refuses admittance to them for pre-arraignment detention.
That was not the issue.
Oh,
I asked that. I said, is it a case that you can't get him over to the jail or the jail won't take him? Nope. And so, okay.
I'm out of ideas then. I don't know. I didn't read it. I don't know exactly what happened, but that'd be my understanding the only time we'd be calling.
I'll get you a copy of the schedule that goes through the end of the year.
But yes, to answer your first question, we do keep track of which judge is on so that in case we run into an issue like that, we're going to call whoever the on-call would be, in theory, of you two. But my understanding is the only time we're calling you guys is if we're having an issue with the pre-arraignment detention where they either aren't accepted or they're not cooperative and such, because it still falls to our court's responsibility at that point of how to get the person arraigned. So,
and I think Pete and I are both more than happy to do an arraignment if something like that comes up. Our issue is we have to have defense counsel there.
Yes.
That was really the impetus for the central arraignment, was counsel at arraignment, not to make it easier on the judges. I think in some ways it's actually harder for the courts to manage these things. So our problem is often we can't get defense counsel there. I had one of these a couple of weeks ago where defendant refused to answer the COVID questions. The jail wouldn't take him. So we had to get him arraigned. So I had to start texting the public defender on duty to get them over there so we could actually do an arraignment.
Yeah.
It is a little screwy and it is a little strange because the jail will take the defendant once we sign a securing order. Whether they've answered the questions or not, whether they have full-blown COVID or not, they take them. But they won't take them pre-arraignment. So one possible solution to that is because they are authorized in the corrections law as a pre-arraignment detention center, Pete or I could sign a commitment order saying, hold them for the 8 o'clock morning arraignment, whatever it is. And then I think the sheriff has to take them because you've got a securing order from a judge. So
I'm going to respectfully stay out of that one. If you guys want to,
just say that because our problem in the middle of the night will be getting defense counsel there. We may not be able to, and you guys shouldn't have to sit on someone for 10 hours to get an arraignment done. That's why the sheriff is there.
I know from personal conversations I've had with the sheriff and sheriff's people that the pre-arraignment detention is not a required thing by law. That is a courtesy that the jail provides.
Correct.
So I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to exit stage right and let you guys figure that out because you and Sheriff D'Agostino can try to figure that plan out. I don't know how we're gonna do that.
And the sheriff has confirmed that they will take them once there's a securing order.
I had a different twist on the very same issue. I was on call. They had a DWI, and because of the conflict with the Rotterdam judge, and I forget there was a Scotia judge, and they couldn't take it, I had to do the arraignment. And so we had to get an 18B, meaning a private attorney appointed, and there was no way I was going to be able to scare up on a Sunday morning an 18B. So, you know, like in the bad old days, you plead the guy not guilty, you reserve all the defendant's rights, but you don't want to make a habit out of that one.
And again, I don't want to get in a legal argument, but Judge Swinton, you've piqued my interest. You can do a commitment order before a arraignment?
I've had to do them in the past before all this, where, for example, we had a very combative defendant who we couldn't bring in the courtroom. We have committed them pre-arraignment. We sent them there and then had them produced, you know, 6 hours later, whatever it was the next morning, when we could bring them back. It's actually in corrections law, section 500A, something or other. I can't remember what the...
If you say so. I've never seen it, so that piqued my interest. So, but okay. Anything else with the court?
No, I mean, our reopening is fine. The issue you raised with voluntary overtime, it has been a problem with the court. Last week I had 3 nights of court sessions, 2 civil and a criminal, and I had no one signed up for any of them. One of the detectives ended up coming in and covering for the criminal. But oddly, that's not where I think most of our problems in the gallery and stuff may be. They're more likely to actually be with the civil stuff than with the criminal stuff. So anything we can do to coordinate that and make sure we've got somebody signed up ahead of time so that we're not bringing somebody in off the road or diverting a detective off to do something. Obviously, it would make things run better for us, but I assume for you as well. But if they don't sign up, I get it. I don't know what the answer is.
Aside from actually putting the posting up on the 25th of each month for the next month.
Yeah.
Oop, somebody's speaker went there. Aside from that, I'm not really sure what else we can do.
No, and maybe there isn't. I just raised it as an issue that, you know, at some point we may have to cancel a court session if we think especially if we think we're going to have a problem in the courtroom and we can't get somebody in. I'm not opening the doors if I know I have somebody coming in who's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, if nobody signs up, we do assign somebody from the road. But that's another problem where we're running even lower staff on the road. So,
right. And then you don't have enough on the road. I get it.
We're just snowballing. Is all we're doing here, pretty much. So, but anything else from the courts?
I had one follow-up question to Judge Scagnelli's from last month. Has there been any resolution on housing of seized animals? I just want to know what we're doing going forward.
I've heard nothing.
Okay.
Me neither.
Because we're required to issue a seizure order. The problem is going to be you can seize them, but then what do you do with them? You're not going to take the animal home. You know?
Probably not. You're probably seizing because it's dangerous.
That's
I mean,
the only reason we're seizing it.
And the situation I had last month was pretty acute in that the owner, I signed the seizure order, and they couldn't house the dog. And what happened was when they brought the case back in, the owner of the dog said, "I can't go home. The dog's home. He bit me. I'm afraid to go home." I mean, it was bad.
Attorney Briggs, do you have any information regarding that?
No, we don't have an answer yet.
Actually, my department has had some issues with once a dog is brought to the shelter, it's still ongoing with them not being able to pick the dog up because the shelter's closed too. Which they've accommodated with this dog this week, I guess, that did bite. And it was held there for 5 days. And then now the people can't come and pick it up until today because of the holiday and all that. So there's still a lot of things that, with regards to my office, that the town has to straighten out with our contract going forward next year. Thank you.
I think that's the best we got for you, Judge.
Okay.
You guys all set? Anything else?
All set.
Fire department, Dale?
Oh, it's pretty good. Coming out of the COVID issues, morale's up a bit, I think, but still being cautious about it though. We did get a grant a while back for some smoke detectors to install in people's homes, so we're hoping to roll that out sometime fairly soon. We got our policies and everything in place for that, and also along with that, we're looking at doing home safety surveys, where if somebody is interested, they contact us. We'll send a couple guys down, take a walk through the house, try to identify any issues in their house that we can see and make recommendations there. Other than that, things are going pretty good right now.
Great.
Thank you, Dale. Dale, I guess you've gotten the grant for the smoke detectors?
Yeah, we secured it. I want to say it was just before COVID hit. With the intent of giving those out. We had some that we procured through New York State Association of Fire Chiefs a few years ago that were directed towards a senior clientele, and free smoke detector installs. These we just went and got the grant, bought the detectors, and we'll put them in anybody's residence as long as it's a owner occupied. It's not for rentals or anything like that. In the case of a rental, the landlord's responsible for the smoke detectors. But we occasionally run into it on calls where we'll go and somebody has a bad detector, and we carry a couple on the engine. The guys will, with the owner's permission, will put it up just to make sure they have some coverage.
It's really geared more for seniors, so we could let the seniors center staff know about this, and they could tell their clientele about it.
This particular program, we're not focusing on any demographic, anybody that needs it, So
Dale, if you write,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, if you write something up and email it to me, I can put it on the town's website and email, I think, 800 or 900 people that are signed up to receive news from the town.
Yeah, we just want to be a little bit careful, only because this is geared towards the Fire District 1 residents. We don't want to be treading on other folks' territory in the rest of the town. But yeah, we usually do put it out through the senior center, because odds are they're the ones usually in most need of, if not the financial assistance to put them up, just the physical help to put them up. So.
Great. Is that it, Dale?
Yep, that's all I have. Thanks.
I don't see anybody from the school district, so I guess we have none from them. Personnel, I don't know if the committee wants to go into executive session with regards to some medical things that are going on.
We will do that at the end, Mike.
Okay. That's all I have then. I don't know if you want to do executive session or not, Bill.
Yes, Yasmin, if you can call for that if we're done. Does anybody have anything else?
Okay.
So it will be Mike, Denise, myself, Yasmin, and Briggs. That should be all we need for the executive session.
Okay, so I will motion for executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, subsection F, to discuss the medical history of a particular person or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will enter into executive session. The members that Councilman McPartlin spoke of will be attending. At the conclusion of executive session, we will be adjourned. We will take up no further business for the morning.